Ms. Slotkin, no. Mr. Thune, no. Mr. Bennett, no. Mr. Kramer, aye. Ms. Lummis, aye. Mr. Hawley, aye. Mrs. Shaheen, no. Mr. Coons, no. Mr. Schumer, no. Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Whitehouse, no. Mr. Markey, no. Mr. Graham, no.
The ayes are 2, noes are 67. The amendment is not agreed to. On this vote, the ayes are 32, the nays are 67. The amendment is not agreed to. The Senator from Missouri.
Thank you, Mr. President. I call up my amendment 4241.
Order.
Amendment 4241 and ask that it be reported by number.
The clerk will report.
Senator from Missouri, Mr. Schmidt proposes an amendment numbered 4241.
2 minutes equally divided.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're at an inflection point right now in America's role in the world. As we reassess how we deploy our time, money, political capital abroad, Congress has an obligation to ensure that taxpayer-funded organizations operate within the mission and guardrails Congress established. The National Endowment for Democracy was created to support democratic norms overseas, not to engage in domestic political advocacy or to amplify one side of America's internal debates. That distinction is essential to its legitimacy. Yet, there is ample evidence that NED has drifted from its statutory mission. Senior leadership and staff have used official positions to engage in domestic political advocacy, and NED funded a foreign organization that created ideological blacklists for conservative American media outlets. These concerns go directly to whether NED is fulfilling the role Congress intended. That's why the President's budget included no funding for NED this year. I've requested the State Department Inspector General investigate NED's leadership conduct and the use of taxpayer dollars. Until that investigation is complete,
Senator's time has expired.
I would argue that if we are true to advocating for Democrat norms, accountability must come first in our own democracy. I urge the adoption.
Mr. President.
Senator from Hawaii.
Mr. President, President Ronald Reagan founded the National Endowment for Democracy in 1983 as an independent nonprofit foundation with a bipartisan board. And since then, it's been the main way that the United States has helped to strengthen democratic institutions around the world. NED exposes Russian propaganda, counters Chinese Communist Party censorship, circumvents the Iranian regime's efforts to silence critics, and highlights corruption and drug trafficking in Venezuela. And it does all of that for a fraction of a penny on the dollar. Let's be perfectly clear, letting authoritarians go unchecked directly undermines our interests and our safety, and these attacks against Ned, led by a small group of people, have been repeatedly proven to be lies. It's why the House defeated the same amendment resoundingly. I urge my colleagues to vote no.
Questions on the amendment? All in favor say aye.
Those opposed, no.
Those opposed? The noes appear to have it. The amendment is not agreed to. Senator from Utah.
I call up my amendment number 4236 and ask that it be reported by number.
The clerk will report.
Senator from Utah, Mr. Lee, proposes an amendment numbered 4236.
2 minutes equally divided.
Mr. President.
Senator from Utah.
Mr. President.
Order.
This amendment would strike the earmarks from this bill. In this bill package, there are about $7 billion in earmark spending. Now, a lot of people like to say, I don't like those other earmarks, but I like my own, so I'm going to vote for all of it so they can all stay in there. Remember, the Republican conference back in 2010 adopted an earmark moratorium. It was converted into a permanent earmark ban in 2019. That's still in effect. We shouldn't be ignoring it. What do these $7 billion do? Well, among other things, they do a lot, including a whole lot of them in spending on woke, wasteful, and unjustified spending. To recipients to fund housing and legal aid for illegal aliens, puberty blockers for kids, building EV charging stations, part of the Green New scam, subsidize California disaster rail system, fund infrastructure and renovation projects at wealthy Met Museum and the Michigan AFL-CIO, a dance festival in Massachusetts, DEI initiatives. Look, we don't need this. We don't want this. This is what's driving the train toward the $38.5 trillion debt that we're adding to at a rate of $2 trillion a year. It's unacceptable. It must end. Support
Senator's
my
time
amendment.
has expired.
Mr. President.
Senator from Maine.
Mr. President, members of Congress understand the need. Could I have
Order.
please, Mr. President? Could I have order?
The Senate will be in order.
Mr. President, members of Congress understand the needs of our constituents far better than any well-intentioned federal employee located here in Washington. The CDS projects provide funding for states, communities, and nonprofit organizations. The process is completely open and transparent. Senators who submit such requests are required to post their requests on their official websites, along with a certification that neither they nor their immediate family members have any financial interest in the items requested. All of the FY26 CDS requests submitted to the Appropriations Committee can be found in a searchable table that's been posted on the committee's website.
Senator's time has expired.
I urge our colleagues to defeat this amendment.
Senator from Washington.
And ask for the ayes and nays.
Is there a sufficient second? Appears to be. Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Ossobrooks. Ms. Baldwin. Warren, Kins. Thank you. Mr. Banks. Mr. Barrasso. Mr. Bennett. Mrs. Blackburn. Mr. Blumenthal. Ms. Blunt Rochester. Mr. Booker. Mr. Boozman. Motion to table. Mrs. Britt. Gallego. Ms. Cantwell. Mrs. Capito. Mr. Cassidy. Ms. Collins. Mr. Cotton. Motion to table? Yeah.
Backwards launch coming up.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Kramer. Senator Barrasso. Hey. Ms. Duckworth. Thank you. Mr. Durbin. Ms. Ernst, Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher, Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Hirono. Oh. Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim. Yes, it's a motion to table. Thank you. Mr. King. Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Marino, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin,
Thank you.
Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young, Senators voting in the affirmative: Alsobrooks, Baldwin, Banks, Blumenthal, Blunt Rochester, Bozeman, Britt, Cantwell, Capito, Collins, Coons, Cortez Masto, Durbin, Fetterman, Fisher, Gallego, Gillibrand, Graham, Hassan, Hickenlooper, Hirono, Husted, Hyde-Smith, Kane, Kelly, Kennedy, Kim, King, Klobuchar, Lujan, McConnell, McCormick, Merkley, Moran, Murkowski, Murphy, Murray, Peters, Reed, Rosen, Rounds, Sanders, Schatz, Schiff, Schumer, Shaheen, Slotkin, Smith, Tillis, Van Hollen, Warner, Warren, Welch, Whitehouse, Wicker, and Wyden. Mr. Padilla, aye. Mr. Heinrich, aye. Mr. Warnock, aye. Mr. Sullivan, aye. Mr. Cotton, aye. Ms. Duckworth, aye. Senators voting in the negative: Banks, Barrasso, Blackburn, Budd, Cassidy, Cornyn, Kramer, Crapo, Curtis, Daines, Ernst, Grassley, Haggerty, Hoven, Johnson, Justice, Lankford, Lee, Marshall, Moody, Marino, Paul, Ricketts, Risch, Schmidt, Scott of Florida, and Tuberville. Mr. Bennett, aye. Mr. Hawley, aye. Mr. Cruz. Mr. Cruz, aye. Mr. Cruz. No. Oh. Mr. Booker, aye.
Thank you.
Mr. Hawley, no. Yeah. Mr. Thune, aye. Ms. Lummis, no. Mr. Markey, aye. Mr. Young, no. Mr. Scott of South Carolina, no. Mr. Sheehy, aye. Mr. McCormick, no. Mr. Ossoff, aye.
Gary, you're full now.
Mr. Mullen, aye.
On this vote, the ayes are 67, the nays are 33. The motion to table is agreed to. Senator from Florida.
I call up Lee Amendment 4234 and ask that it be reported by number.
The clerk will report the amendment by number.
4234.
Senator from Florida, Mr. Scott, for Mr. Lee, proposes an amendment number 4234.
Hi, Mr. President.
Senator from Florida.
Mr. President, I'd like to thank my colleague, Senator Lee, for working with me to stop Democrats' wasteful spending in this package and bring accountability for the American people. Our nation is nearly $39 trillion in debt, running $2 trillion deficits, and we're spending billions of dollars, up to 10% of our federal spending, on fraud and abuse. This waste is fueled in part by billions upon billions of wasteful earmark spending by Democrats who treat taxpayers' cash like candy. We should be looking at each dollar to make sure it's spent wisely. I did that as governor of Florida, and I was able to balance our budget. Let's start by looking at one earmark, $500,000 for new immigrant community empowerment in New York City. This is an organization that serves immigrants who are here illegally. Why should the American taxpayer foot the bill to support illegals in sanctuary cities when so many American citizens are struggling themselves? We will never get inflation under control and interest rates down until we balance the federal budget. I ask my colleagues to support my amendment to—
The senator's time has expired.
And wasteful earmark.
Mr. President.
Senator from Washington.
Mr. President, this amendment would strike funding for one member's project simply because the senator offering the amendment doesn't like the project. That is not how this process should work. Every senator has the opportunity to submit requests to have projects in their state funded in our appropriation bills. Those requests are vetted for compliance with critical guardrails, and senators must attest they have no financial stake in the project. If a project meets that criteria, it is eligible for funding. And if eligible projects are funded in a bill, we need to respect each senator's ability to fund the projects that are important to them and their state, full stop. This amendment completely overrules another senator on a project they have secured funding for and threatens to really derail a carefully negotiated bill. Mr. President, I oppose this amendment. I move to table the Lee amendment and ask for the ayes and nays.
Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. The question is on the motion to table. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsobrooks. Ms. Baldwin. Mr. Banks, Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Bennett, Mrs. Blackburn, Mr. Blumenthal, Ms. Blunt Rochester. Mr. Booker. Mr. Bozeman. Mrs. Britt. Mr. Budd. Ms. Cantwell. Mrs. Capito. Mr. Cassidy. Ms. Collins. Mr. Coons. Mr. Cornyn. Ms. Cortez Masto. Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer, Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cruz, Mr. Curtis, Mr. Daines, Mr. Daines, Ms. Duckworth, Mr. Durbin, Ms. Ernst, Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher, Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Arono, Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Moreno, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Markowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, thanks. Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young. Senators voting in the affirmative: Also Brooks, Baldwin, Blumenthal, Blunt Rochester, Bozeman, Capito, Collins, Coons, Cortez Masto, Duckworth, Durbin, Fetterman, Gallego, Gillibrand, Graham, Hassan, Heinrich, Hirono, Hyde-Smith, Kane, Kelly, Kim, King, Klobuchar, Lujan, Markey, Merkley, Moran, Murphy, Murray, Ossoff, Padilla, Peters, Reed, Rosen, Sanders, Schiff, Schumer, Shaheen, Smith, Tillis, Van Hollen, Warnock, Warren, Whitehouse, Wicker, Wyden. Senators voting in the negative: Banks, Barrasso, Blackburn, Britt, Budd, Cornyn, Cotton, Kramer, Crapo, Cruz, Curtis, Gaines, Ernst, Fisher, Hawley, Hovind, Husted, Johnson, Justice, Kennedy, Langford, Lee, Lummis, Marshall, McCormick, Moody, Moreno, Mullen, Paul, Ricketts, Schmidt, Scott of Florida, Scott of South Carolina, Sheehy, Sullivan, Tuberville. Mr. Young, no. Mr. Warner, aye. Mr. Cassidy, no. Mr. Haggerty, no. Mr. Booker, aye. Mr. Welch, aye. Mr. Grassley, no. Mr. McConnell, aye. Ms. Cantwell, aye. Mr. Schatz, aye.
Ryan's not doing anything.
Mr. Hickenlooper, aye. Ms. Murkowski, aye. Mr. Rounds, aye. Ms. Slotkin, aye. Mr. Thune, no. Mr. Risch, no. Mr. Bennett. Aye.
The ayes are 58, the nays are 42. The motion to table is agreed to. Order.
Mr. President,
Senator from Utah.
I call up my amendment number 4286 and ask that it be reported by number.
Clerk will report the amendment by order.
Senator from Utah, Mr. Lee, proposes an amendment number 4286.
Mr. President, something happened very significant this morning. This morning, it was announced that the chief financial officer of this agency, USADF, has been charged and simultaneously pleaded guilty to corruption charges. Pleaded guilty to corruption charges this morning. The Department of Justice just announced it. Now, also, we've received word from the acting chairman and CEO of USADF, a request that we defund this entity because, as he put it, it's trash. And as he put it, it's a corrupt culture of waste, fraud, and abuse. So when the acting chairman and CEO of an entity that's getting all this public funding, all these millions of dollars, says defund it because we've got a problem here. Meanwhile, the DOJ office at the Department of War today echoed that and agreed with his assessment. Please, colleagues, join me. This one's not an earmark. This is spending within the bill. Spending within the bill where the head of the entity has asked us to defund it because the culture within that entity is impossibly corrupt. We must end it. Please support my amendment.
Mr. President.
Senator from Delaware.
Mr. President, the CEO of the U.S. Africa Development Foundation is one Peter Morocco, known to all of us who watched how DOJ came in and tore up most of our foreign assistance organizations. Yes, an individual pled guilty today to a $12,000 bribe. No, that is not the reason to shut down abruptly and end the process that has gone on since 1980, by which this organization, which has long enjoyed bipartisan support, makes grants at a very modest level to dozens of African organizations and countries, using matching funds from private donors and other countries. The SFOPS bill, of which this is a part, already addresses concerns about the ongoing investigation. This organization, which I have visited in the field over the last decade, has a long and strong record of delivering results. This one event today being misrepresented by this entity leader who is a DOJ individual who has locked out all the employees of this foundation and prevented it from functioning should not lead to its closure. I move that it be tabled, that this amendment, Lee number 4286, be tabled.
Said for 10 seconds to respond.
Without objection.
The fact that the acting president and CEO is a DOJ individual doesn't disqualify him from making this statement. This is corruption. Sure, it's gone on since the 80s, but so have a lot of things that are corrupt. We must defund this now.
Questions on the motion?
It's gone on since the 80s. That is an exaggeration.
Question is the motion. Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsobrooks.
Ms. Baldwin. Mr. Banks, Mr. Barrasso. Mr. Bennett. Mrs. Blackburn. Mr. Blumenthal, Ms. Blunt Rochester. Mr. Booker. Mr. Bozeman. Mrs. Brett. Mr. Budd. Ms. Cantwell. Mrs. Capito. Mr. Cassidy. Ms. Collins. Mr. Coons. Mr. Cornyn. Ms. Cortez Masto. Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer. Mr. Crapo. Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cruz, Mr. Curtis, Mr. Daines, Ms. Duckworth. Mr. Durbin, Ms. Ernst, Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher. Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley. Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Hirono, Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Marino, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida. Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young, Senators voting in the affirmative: Alsobrooks, Baldwin, Bennett, Blumenthal, Blunt Rochester, Booker, Bozeman, Capito, Collins, Coons, Cortez Masto, Kramer, Duckworth, Durbin, Fetterman, Gallego, Gillibrand, Graham, Hassan, Heinrich, Hickenlooper, Hirono, Hoven, Kane, Kelly, Kim, King, Klobuchar, Lujan, Markey, Merkley, Moran, Murphy, Murray, Ossoff, Padilla, Reed, Rosen, Sanders, Schatz, Schiff, Smith, Tillis, Van Hollen, Warner, Warnock, Warren, Welch, Whitehouse, Wicker, and Wyden. Ms. Murkowski, aye. Yeah. Mr. McConnell, aye. Mr. Peters, aye. Ms. Cantwell, aye. Senators voting in the negative: Banks, Barrasso, Blackburn, Britt, Budd, Cassidy, Cornyn, Cotton, Crapo, Cruz, Curtis, Daines, Ernst, Fisher, Haggerty, Husted, Hyde-Smith, Johnson, Justice, Kennedy, Langford, Lee, Lummis, Marshall, McCormick, Moody, Marino, Mullen, Paul, Ricketts, Risch, Rounds, Schmidt, Scott of Florida, Sheehy, Sullivan, Thune, Tuberville, and Young. Mr. Hawley, no. Mr. Grassley, no. Mr. Scott of South Carolina, no. Mrs. Shaheen, aye. Ms. Slotkin, aye. Mr. Schumer, aye.
The ayes are 58, the nays are 42. The motion is agreed to.
Mr. President.
Senator from Vermont.
Mr. President, I call my amendment 4290 and ask that it be reported by number.
The clerk will report the amendment by number.
The senator from Vermont, Mr. Sanders, proposes amendment numbered 4290 to H.R. 7148.
Mr. President, as part of the so-called Big Beautiful Bill, President Trump and Republicans threw 15 million Americans off of Medicaid through massive cuts to that program. At the same time, they did something even more dangerous. That legislation appropriated $75 billion for ICE over a 4-year period on top of the previously appropriated $10 billion a year. Mr. President, when you give ICE that huge amount of money, you are not talking about an agency for immigration and customs enforcement. You're talking about a domestic army which is now terrorizing and killing people in Minneapolis and other communities around this country. That must end. This amendment rescinds the $75 billion appropriation for ICE and transfers that money to Medicaid. We don't need a domestic army in America to terrorize people. We need to guarantee health care to all Americans. Thank you.
Mr. President.
Senator from Alabama.
Mr. President, I rise today in objection to the amendment from the senator from Vermont. I would say the most dangerous thing that we have seen is the Biden administration letting countless numbers of individuals illegally enter our country. I think if you were to ask Laken Riley's mother or Jocelyn Nungary's, what they would say is we need more immigration enforcement. Our laws should actually be followed. And so the fact that this amendment would actually defund ICE and then also would send taxpayer dollars to illegal immigrants for Medicaid, which I'm pretty sure everybody over here has said they're not for, I think today will be a day of reckoning, and we'll see actually exactly where you all stand. Mr. President, I yield the floor.
Questions on the amendment?
Ask for the yeas and nays.
Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsobrooks. Ms. Baldwin. Mr. Banks, Mr. Barrasso. Mr. Bennett. Mrs. Blackburn. Mr. Blumenthal. Ms. Blunt Rochester. Mr. Booker. Mr. Bozeman. Mrs. Britt. Mr. Budd. Ms. Cantwell. Mrs. Capito. Mr. Cassidy. Ms. Collins, Mr. Coons. Mr. Cornyn. Ms. Cortez Mastro, Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer, Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cruz. Mr. Curtis. Mr. Daines. Ms. Duckworth. Mr. Durbin. Ms. Ernst. Mr. Fetterman. Mrs. Fisher. Mr. Gallego. Mrs. Gillibrand. Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Mr. Rono, Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran. Mr. Moreno, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy,
Thanks at the door.
Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young. Senator voting in the affirmative: Also Brooks, Baldwin, Bennett, Blumenthal, Blunt Rochester, Booker, Collins, Cortez Masto, Duckworth, Fetterman, Gallego, Hassan, Hickenlooper, Hirono, Kane, Kelly, Kim, King, Lujan, Markey, Merkley, Murkowski, Murphy, Murray, Ossoff, Padilla, Peters, Rosen, Sanders, Schumer, Shaheen, Slotkin, Smith, Van Hollen, Warner, Warnock, Warren, Welch, Whitehouse, Wyden. Mr. Heinrich, aye. Mr. Durbin, aye. Senators voting in the negative: Banks, Barrasso, Blackburn, Bozeman, Britt, Budd, Capito, Cassidy, Cotton, Kramer, Crapo, Cruz, Curtis, Daines, Ernst, Fisher, Graham, Grassley, Haggerty, Hawley, Hovind, Husted, Hyde-Smith, Johnson, Justice, Kennedy, Langford, Lee, Lummis, Marshall, McConnell, McCormick, Moody, Moran, Moreno, Mullen, Paul, Ricketts, Rounds, Schmidt, Scott of Florida, Scott of South Carolina, Sheehy, Sullivan, Thune, Tillis, Tuberville, Wicker, Young. Mr. Schiff, aye. Mr. Schatz? Aye. Mr. Risch? No. Mr. Cornyn? No. Mr. Coons? Aye. Mr. Reed? Aye. Ms. Cantwell? Aye. Mrs. Gillibrand? Mrs. Gillibrand, aye. Mr. Warnock? Aye. Ms. Klobuchar? Aye.
On this vote, the yeas are 49 and the nays are 51. The 60 vote threshold having not been achieved, the amendment is not agreed to.
Mr. President.
Chair recognizes the Senator from Oregon.
Order in the
House
chamber, please.
Senate will be in order.
Mr. President, order in the chamber, please.
Senate will be in order.
I call up my amendment 4287 and ask that it be reported by number.
Clerk will report the amendment by number.
The Senator from Oregon, Mr. Merkley, proposes an amendment numbered 4287.
Mr. President.
Senator from Oregon.
Thank you. Article 1, Section 9 of our Constitution puts the power of the purse here in Congress. Our founders considered this the difference between a democratic republic, where the people's representatives design, choose the programs, and fund them, and an authoritarian state, where a king decides what the programs are. The Supreme Court has reaffirmed that vision multiple times, including in 1975, where they said a president could not impound funds, and in 1996, where they said Congress could not delegate the power of the purse because it's given to us. But an aberration has occurred, an aberration in which a president can slow walk funds, ask for Congress to undo the law that funded a program at the end of a fiscal year, utilize a grace period, and then the program reaches the end of the year and poof, like Cinderella's carriage, it turns into a pumpkin. And the work we pass by law and authorize by law is undone with no vote of Congress to do so. That is a violation of the Constitution. We have the responsibility to defend the power of the purse. Let's honor our oath to a democratic republic. We are not an authoritarian state as long as we hold on to the responsibilities assigned to us in the Constitution.
Time's expired.
President,
Chair recognizes the senator from Wyoming.
Mr. President, the pending amendment number 4287 contains matters within the Budget Committee's jurisdiction. I therefore raise a point of order against the amendment pursuant to Section 306 of the Congressional Budget Act and ask for the yeas and nays.
Mr. President.
Chair recognizes the senator from Oregon.
Pursuant to Section 904 of the Congressional Budget Act of 1974 and the waiver provisions of the applicable budget resolutions, I move to waive applicable sections of the Act and applicable budget points of order for the purposes of the pending measure because it's our responsibility to defend Congress and the Constitution and preserve a democratic republic. I ask for the yeas and nays.
Questions on the motion? On the motion to waive?
I ask for the yeas and nays.
Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsobrooks. Ms. Baldwin. Mr. Banks. Mr. Barrasso. Mr. Bennett. Mrs. Blackburn. Mr. Blumenthal. Ms. Blunt Rochester. Mr. Booker. Mr. Bozeman. Thank you. Mrs. Britt. Mr. Budd. Ms. Cantwell. Mrs. Capito, Mr. Cassidy. Ms. Collins. Mr. Coons. Mr. Cornyn, Ms. Cortez Masto. Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer, Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cruz. Mr. Curtis, Mr. Daines, Ms. Duckworth, Mr. Durbin, Ms. Ernst, Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher, Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand. Gotcha.
No, for being a professional, no,
Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley. Mr. Heinrich. Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Hirono, Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Lankford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Marino, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders. Thanks. Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt. No, he did not. Mr. Schumer. Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina. Mrs. Shaheen. Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young, Senators voting in the affirmative: Alsor-Brooks, Baldwin, Bennett, Blumenthal, Blunt-Rochester, Booker, Cantwell, Cortez Masto, Duckworth, Fetterman, Gallego, Gillibrand, Hassan, Heinrich, Hirono, Kane, Kelly, Kim, King, Lujan, Merkley, Murphy, Murray, Ossoff, Padilla, Peters, Rosen, Schatz, Schiff, Slotkin, Smith, Van Hollen, Warner, Warnock, Warren, Welch, Whitehouse, and Wyden. Mr. Markey, aye. Senators voting in the negative: Barrasso, Blackburn, Bozeman, Britt, Budd, Capito, Collins, Cornyn, Cotton, Kramer, Crapo, Cruz, Curtis, Daines, Ernst, Fisher, Graham, Hoven, Husted, Hyde-Smith, Johnson, Justice, Kennedy, Lankford, Lee, Lummis, Marshall, McConnell, Moody, Marino, Murkowski, Paul, Ricketts, Risch, Rounds, Schmidt, Scott of Florida, Sheehy, Sullivan, Thune, Tillis, Tuberville, Wicker, and Young. Mr. Sanders, aye. Mr. Reed, aye. Mr. Durbin, aye. Mr. Coons, aye. Mr. Moran. Mr. Banks? No. Mr. Moran? No. Mr. Hawley, no. Ms. Klobuchar, aye. Mrs. Shaheen, aye. Mr. Grassley, no. Mr. Cassidy, no. Mr. Bozeman. Mr. Hickenlooper, aye.
Hope you have a good week.
Mr. Schumer, aye.
This is the right side.
Mr. Scott of South Carolina, no. I already have her. It's all right. Mr. McCormick, no. Mr. Mullen, no.
Well,
He understood. Here's
On this vote, the yeas are 47 and the nays are 52. 3/5 of the senators duly chosen and sworn not having voted in the affirmative. The motion is not agreed to. The point of order is sustained and the amendment fails.
President.
Senate will be in order.
Mr. President.
Senate will be in order. Senator from Maine.
Thank you, Mr. President. I call up my amendment number 4273 and ask that it be reported by number.
The clerk will report.
The senator from Maine, Ms. Collins, proposes an amendment number 4273.
Under the previous order, Collins Amendment 4273 is agreed to. The clerk will read the title of the bill for the third time.
Counter number 302, H.R. 7148, an act making further consolidated appropriations for the fiscal year ending September 30, 2026, and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes the senator from Maine.
Mr. President, I urge my colleagues to support the funding package that is before us. It includes full-year funding for the following bills: the Department of Defense, Financial Services and General Government, Labor, Health and Human Services and Education, National Security, Department of Defense, Transportation, Housing and Urban Development. Colleagues, when we pass this package and when it is signed into law on top of the previous packages, we will have funded 96% of all of government. Mr. President, the package also continues funding for the Department of Homeland Security for 2 weeks to allow us additional time to evaluate further changes in ICE procedures beyond those that we have already included in this bill. Mr. President, let me end by thanking our Appropriation Committee members for the tremendous efforts that they put into getting us to this wonderful achievement. These are fiscally responsible bills that reflect months of hard work and deliberation from members from both parties and both sides of the Capitol. Enacting this package will represent a major milestone and show that Congress can work together in a bipartisan manner to carry out our Article 1 responsibilities and deliver real results for the people that we are honored to represent. Thank you, Mr. President. Again, my thanks to the leadership and to the committee members and, of course, to our great staff. I urge my colleagues to support this important package. Thank you, Mr. President.
The question occurs on the passage of the bill as amended. Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Also Brooks.
Ms. Baldwin. Mr. Banks, Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Bennett, Mrs. Blackburn, Mr. Blumenthal, Ms. Blunt-Rochester, Mr. Booker. Mr. Bozeman, Mrs. Britt, Mr. Budd, Ms. Cantwell, Mrs. Capito, Mr. Cassidy, Ms. Collins. Mr. Coons, Mr. Cornyn, Ms. Cortez Masto, Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer, Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cruz, Mr. Curtis, Mr. Daines, Ms. Duckworth, Mr. Durbin, Ms. Ernst, Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher, Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham. Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Hirono, Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Moreno, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker,
I did see.
Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young, Senators voting in the affirmative: Baldwin, Banks, Barrasso, Blackburn, Blumenthal, Bozeman, Britt, Budd, Cantwell, Capito, Cassidy, Coons, Cornyn, Cortez Masto, Cotton, Kramer, Crapo, Curtis, Daines, Durbin, Ernst, Fetterman, Fisher, Gillibrand, Graham, Grassley, Hassan, Hawley, Hickenlooper, Hirono, Hoven, Husted, Hyde-Smith, Justice, Kane, Kennedy, King, Langford, Lummis, Marshall, McConnell, McCormick, Moody, Moran, Moreno, Mullen, Murkowski, Murray, Ossoff, Peters, Ricketts, Risch, Rosen, Rounds, Schatz, Schmidt, Scott of South Carolina, Shaheen, Sheehy, Thune, Tillis, Tuberville, Warner, Welch, Whitehouse, Wicker, Young. Senators voting in the negative: Also Brooks, Bennett, Blunt Rochester, Booker, Cruz, Duckworth, Gallego, Heinrich, Johnson, Kelly, Kim, Klobuchar, Lee, Lujan, Markey, Murphy, Padilla, Paul, Sanders, Schiff, Scott of Florida, Slotkin, Smith, Van Hollen, Warnock, Warren. Mr. Wyden, no. Mr. Merkley, no. Mr. Schumer, aye. Mr. Reed, no. Mr. Sullivan, aye.
I thought I wrote it out. Well, just put I thought I took that off, so put it
Ms.
back.
Collins, aye. Mr. Haggerty, aye.
He needs to do that with the
The yeas are 71. The nays are 29. The bill, as amended, has passed. Under the previous order, the motion to reconsider is considered made and laid upon the table.
Mr. President.
Chair recognizes the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move to proceed to executive session to consider calendar number 610.
The question is on the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The clerk will report the nomination.
Nomination, the judiciary, David Clay Fawkes of Arkansas to be United States District Judge for the Western District of Arkansas.
Mr. President, I send a cloture motion to the desk.
The clerk will report.
Cloture motion, we, the undersigned senators, in accordance with the provisions of Rule 22 of the Standing Rules of the Senate, do hereby move to bring to a closed debate on the nomination of David Clay Fawkes of Arkansas to be United States District Judge for the Western District of Arkansas, signed by 17 senators as follows.
Mr. President, I ask consent the reading of the names be waived.
Without objection.
And I move to proceed to legislative session.
The question's on the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those no. Ayes appear to have it. The ayes have it. Motion is agreed to.
Mr. President, I move to proceed to executive session to consider calendar number 611.
Questions on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to.
Mr. President, I send a...
The clerk will report the nomination.
Nomination, the judiciary, Nicholas John Gange of Texas to be United States District Judge for the Southern District of Texas.
President, I send a cloture motion to the desk.
The clerk will report.
Cloture motion, we, the undersigned senators, in accordance with the provisions of Rule 22 of the Standing Rules of the Senate, do hereby move to bring to a close debate on the nomination of Nicholas John Gange of Texas to be United States District Judge for the Southern District of Texas, signed by 17 senators as follows.
Mr. President, I ask consent the reading of the names be waived.
Without objection.
And I move to proceed to legislative session.
Questions on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to.
Mr. President, I move to proceed to executive session to consider calendar number 614.
The questions on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The clerk will report the nomination.
Nomination, the judiciary, Aaron Christian Peterson of Alaska to be United States District Judge for the District of Alaska.
Mr. President, I send a cloture motion to the desk.
The clerk will report.
Cloture motion, we, the undersigned senators, in accordance with the provisions of Rule 22 of the Standing Rules of the Senate, do hereby move to bring to a close debate on the nomination of Aaron Christian Peterson of Alaska to be.
All right, so the next important day for us is going to be on Monday. The Senate has passed that little mini appropriation bill right here. Here you go. That's the Consolidated Appropriations Act. They already went and voted on their amendments. That passed. Not a big deal. It now goes to the House. From what it sounds like, the House is going to be able to do this on Monday.
And in order to place the bill on the calendar.
Sorry, I'm just letting that play out. They're just doing other procedural things right now. What you noticed was a whole bunch of people left, right? Bunch of people left. They're doing all the minor stuff right now. But essentially what we learned is that for the majority of things, it is going to go down party lines. That's kind of crappy. Just throwing it out there. That's kind of crappy. And again, you can tell that all the juicy stuff is over. You notice no one's standing here anymore. They are all gone. So what happened was they passed the Consolidated Appropriations Act, right? That's that kind of mini funding bill. That now will get sent to the House. The House will most likely do that on Monday, if not Tuesday. Most likely Monday, though. They're going to try to rush this through. The House will be able to vote it, no big deal. The real issue that we have with this is they haven't fixed a lot of problems with the crypto bill. We don't have a deal with yield in banks yet. We have a problem with who's going to regulate crypto because it's supposed to be the CFTC. There's only 1 out of 5 bigs at the CFTC, so you don't even have the people there in place. The other issue they have, too, is they have ethics concerns with people in Congress, the president, getting into crypto and all of a sudden using that to their advantage. So we really have like three massive concerns that are holding us up right now. And we're not there yet. We're not there. I mean, even this, the budget stuff, right? So we did this way early in the day. We did a live stream. And you heard it's a lot of Trump derangement syndrome. And what happens is, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Because one side doesn't like the other side doesn't like the one side. That's fine. No one cares about that. The issue comes, though, is that Trump's family is big into crypto, and the Democrats don't want that. They just don't want him to have power. So whether you believe in Trump derangement syndrome or not, you're going to need 7 senators to vote in order to make this happen. And the concerns that are out there are pretty strong. The ethics concern is a big one. The other concern they have is, look, if crypto is supposed to be a commodity ruled by the CFTC, how the hell are they going to do that if we don't even have people at the CFTC? That's a big problem. I have ethics concerns with Congress, too. The Bushes were in oil. I do agree with that. Let's just hear what they got to say here real quick.
The chair and vice chair of the Full Appropriations Committee, Senators Collins and Senator Murray. They and their staff made the impossible real. The bills just passed through this body and headed now to the House will save lives and change them. Will fund hundreds of billions of dollars of positive and valuable activity on behalf of the people of the United States. The subcommittee for which I'm responsible in this Congress as the ranking member is the appropriations for the Department of Defense and for our intelligence communities. The chair, Senator McConnell. I have truly enjoyed working with Senator McConnell on the very complex, challenging, and urgent issues related to our national defense, to our intelligence community, and to the future of our nation. Senators, as we all know, don't do anything on their own, even on our best days. And so I wanted to take a moment and thank all of the staff and the clerks who worked tirelessly, who stayed up for weeks on end, who dealt with ridiculous crisis deadlines, who negotiated and renegotiated in good faith across the aisle to achieve this result. I want to thank in particular the folks who make the SAC-D subcommittee work. Of course, principally Rob Leonard, who is my clerk, and Robert Karam, who is the clerk for Senator McConnell. But in addition, Gabriella Armanda, Dylan Bird, Rachel Dapiv, Laura Forrest, Abby Grace, Megan Handel, Cole Hodge, Bridget Kolish, Alexa Lorick, Ryan Pettit, Todd Phillips, Catherine Plunkett, Kim Segura, Tom Schaefer, and Elise Stevick. If I missed anyone, count it as my fault, not the staff who helped me assemble that list and the following. I just wanted to also thank a number of the clerks of the subcommittees with whom I've worked. Evan Schatz, of course, who is Senator Murray's chief clerk, John Ryder, Joe Eckert, Jen Becker, Alex Carnes, who I am particularly thankful to for his Johnny-on-the-spot assistance at all times, including on this evening's vote, and Mike Gentili. There is more work to do. The next 2 weeks will require us to listen to each other, to work hard, and to hammer out more accountability and transparency for the Department of Homeland Security to help make sure that we meet this moment. But at the end of the day, as someone who is proud to be an appropriator and to have the opportunity to deliver more than $150 million for my little state of Delaware across dozens and dozens of targeted appropriations, and then more broadly through all of these different subcommittees to help fund critically needed investments in medical research, in university research, in the volunteer fire service, in law enforcement, in education, in infrastructure. It is important that this body do its principal job. The power of the purse is something that, going back to Old England, we fought for hundreds of years to wrest away from kings. When we began this process, it was not at all clear to me that this Article I body would succeed in exercising the power of the purse. But today we have, and for that I am grateful. And more than anything else, I'm grateful to the incredible and talented staff who have made this easy by their hard work. Thank you, and with that I yield the floor.
All right, so essentially what we're seeing right now, I'm just kind of letting them do their finishing remarks, and when they come up to the mic, I'm just unmuting it. Essentially, we've got three main concerns right now holding things back. This bill is only good for a couple weeks. I believe it was a 2-week extension for the appropriations. So that puts us back at this fight in the next 2 weeks if we can't get something done. There will be a funding lapse in the government. It will be super small. We're expecting the House to take this on Monday. Should be a total slam dunk. I'm not expecting anything wonky from the House. The House doesn't have the rule like the Senate. The House doesn't technically need any votes from the Republicans or from the Democrats to push this through. They just need the Republican votes to make this stuff happen. We're right now just kind of letting them do their finishing remarks. The appropriations bill did go through. That is a good thing for us. In terms of, is it going to give the market some oomph? No. I mean, the reality is the big concern is that regs are just so far away. We're so far on a deal with the banks right now. And the other big problem that we have is we don't have anyone at the CFTC. The Democrats are like, wait a minute, you want the CFTC to regulate crypto, except for the fact that we don't have anyone at the CFTC. Yeah, we only have 1 out of 5 big people at the CFTC. Otherwise, empty seats. So how are you going to regulate crypto if you don't even have the organization who's supposed to be regulating it? They don't have the people there. It's like saying the police are going to be in charge of road safety, but there's no one that works at the police department. Well, then it doesn't matter who the hell you put in charge of road safety. Ooh, Brasso the cleaner. I like Brasso the cleaner, but it does make your fingers messy. Right now, like I said, they're just doing their finishing comments. All the big peeps have left. The bill has passed. It gets sent to the House. The House should be tackling it on Monday. We got another snowstorm brewing in, and we just got to watch out for delays in the government, making sure it doesn't push anything out way too wonky. The prices of some of our favorites out here are just getting pounded pretty hard right now. You're seeing XRP real low on this move, $1.73 on this move. Last time we saw $1.73 was on that crazy correction when we got to $1.52 all the way back here on the 10th of October. So, we do have time to get crypto regs done. We definitely do. We got the opportunity to get that done. It's a small window. It's a very small window. The midterm elections are going to be held in 9 months. So in 9 months, there's quite a few of these people that are not going to be working. They're going to be working on getting their jobs, getting re-elected. And that's the same thing with the House. In fact, as of the last check, it was 53 people or 53 seats that are going to be open completely, where people said, look, I'm not doing this Congress crap anymore. I'm done with this. So you got 53 seats up for grabs, which is freaking huge. 53 seats. Fair Shake won 91% of their elections that they had supported with their Super PAC mini. So we're waiting to see now if we could get that to happen with this next midterm, or with this midterm coming up. So you got to figure these crypto bros and chicks, the ones that, your big, expensive mini guys, your Anderson Horowitzes, your Ripples, Garlinghouses, your Larsons, all them, they're going to spend so much money on this election in order to get pro-crypto people in so they can make this happen. But as of right now, it's not looking so good for regs. You're seeing a lot of softness overall in the market. Yes, volume has ticked up, but volume is $170 billion at these prices. You're not seeing much retail support here. You're also seeing that we're going into the weekend, right? Kind of be another quiet weekend again. So after we're done with these people, we know nothing's going to get done on Saturday and Sunday, so we kind of just chill out until Monday with the House. And again, the things that are holding us back are we don't have anything from the Senate Banking Committee, so we can't draw a line to the full Senate markup. You got the Ag Committee's portion, but even with the Ag Committee's portion that has gone through, you still don't have people at the CFTC, and you also have ethics concerns, right? So you got to put those two down. Let's do this. So we got right here, we have ethics concerns, and then we also have, hey, we don't know who the hell works at the CFTC, right? So in that, you got ethics concerns, and then here's the other one. We got to put it down. We don't have people yet at the CFTC. So if you're going to regulate crypto, how the hell are you going to regulate crypto if no one's working at the CFTC? So there is some definite concern aronies, you jabronis. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put a little zigzag line through here because we don't have that yet. And we don't have this yet. And we also don't have what? We don't have this line here. The Senate Banking Committee getting us through. Just throwing it out there. That is where we sit right now. Yes, you did get markup through the Senate Ag Committee. But the Senate Ag Committee that did markup said we have two big problems still, which are not going to allow passage of crypto regs. That's ethics violations and concerns and CFTC concerns. And then you have the Senate banking thing. And the Senate banking problem right now, let's put a little red arrow to that. The big problem with that one is what? Yield, right? That's the big problem we're dealing with over here. So it's yield for that is giving us the problem. So if we can get yield fixed, right? If we could get, here, let's erase this. If we could get yield fixed, that's what we want. We got to get this yield here fixed on the banking side, and then we could start getting some of this other stuff too. Does yield only apply to stablecoins? For now, it does, but that opens the door to get yield on other assets. That's big. Now, will the yield be as big? No, not as big as something that's backed by U.S. Treasuries, but still really important. And so that's what's holding us up. The three things right now are holding us up, and that's yield, right? We don't have yield yet, which is holding up the Senate banking group. And overall right now in the Senate, you have ethics and CFTC concerns. That is not going to help us pass anything soon. So crypto regs are held up by this right now. Hopefully this whiteboard demonstration gives everyone a good look at exactly what the deal is right now, where we stand. So what are we thinking? Well, we might have more downturn pressure. Let's listen to this person.
For H. Bill. Last year, Trump did everything he could to sabotage life-saving medical research that was happening across the country. He fired thousands of federal researchers. He froze critical research mid-study. And he held up billions of dollars that should have been going to researchers nationwide, including in Washington state. Work on cancer treatments and Alzheimer's, diabetes, heart disease, and much more. All of that was put in grave jeopardy. And if that weren't enough, Trump proposed taking an axe to medical research with a whopping 40% cut. Now, the bill that we just passed, we said, no, we are not going to do that. Instead of slashing medical research funding by 40%, we're going to invest nearly $500 million more. It rejects Trump's plan to gut NIH funding. It once again rejects his illegal plan to set a cap that would devastate biomedical research institutes across the country. And it rejects Russ Vought's scheme to have NIH award all of its multi-year grants in one lump sum, something that would mean thousands of fewer grants that were awarded and thousands fewer chances to discover medical breakthroughs. Protecting NIH funding is a huge deal for researchers across the country, including in my home state of Washington, where places like the UW and Fred Hutchinson Cancer Center and so many others are leading the way on medical research that saves lives. Now, the Trump administration has also attacked our public health infrastructure in all kinds of ways. Earlier this month, his administration came this close to outright canceling billions in funding for mental health care and substance use prevention and treatment before the outcry forced them to reverse course. Well, our bill rejects President Trump's asks to rubber stamp his public health sabotage. Instead, it doubles down on life-saving public health investments. It rejects Trump's efforts to slash opioid response funds. It rejects his proposal to chop CDC in half. And it rejects his call to end programs like Title X, the Teen Pregnancy Program, essential HIV initiatives, and more. In another sign of just how out of touch Trump is, we've seen him attack childcare, trying to rip out a cornerstone of our economy, regardless of how many kids and working parents it would hurt, regardless of how many small businesses it would send spiraling. Trump also tried to eliminate preschool development grants. Our bill sustains this funding, and it increases funding for programs like Head Start and Child Care Development Block Grant. Make no mistake, this was an uphill battle, given the really tough funding constraints we faced this year. But I fought hard, and we got this done. This bill also rejects Trump's dream of slashing public education funding, and instead provides a bit more for our K-12 schools. All told, we rejected $12 billion in proposed cuts at the Department of Education and President Trump's request to abolish the department. President Trump wanted to slash the maximum Pell Grant by over $1,000, and we said absolutely not. And right now, we are still learning new details about how Trump and his Doge flunkies misused Americans' Social Security information and did untold damage to the Social Security Administration. Every American should be outraged by the way this administration has tried to sabotage Social Security. And I made sure that our bill increases funding so SSA can start to repair some of the damage. And that's just in the LHS bill. In the THUD bill, Democrats refused to go along with Trump's deep cuts to rental assistance programs. Instead of letting our billionaire president kick millions of Americans out of their homes, we are, in this bill, investing over $4 billion more in rental assistance to help families keep a roof over their heads. Instead of Trump's plan to saw the Department of Housing and Urban Development in half, we secured an historic $7.2 billion increase that will help our families stay in their homes and build more affordable housing and address homelessness across the country. This bill provides $366 million more for homeless assistance grants. We rejected Trump's push to zero out programs that help our low-income families with legal assistance when they face eviction and give people a hand up by helping them improve their financial security and job skills. Trump even wanted to eliminate several programs that support affordable housing and community development. This bill says no to all of that. It says we are not going to stop making progress, and we are not going to stop building affordable housing and critical infrastructure in our communities. It also includes tens of millions of dollars I worked hard to secure for affordable housing projects in communities across Washington state. Make no mistake, there is way more we need to do to tackle the affordable housing and homelessness crisis. This is an issue that is always top of mind for me as a senator from the state of Washington. But every bit of progress we can get is progress we must take. When it comes to transportation, we were able to increase funding for air safety. We secured crucial investments for highways and bridges, ports, and more. We rejected the House Republicans' plan to zero out funding for Amtrak, making sure to meet the full Amtrak funding requests so our trains can keep running safely and on time. And we also rejected the House Republican proposal to slash funding for capital investment grants by an unthinkable 98%. Washington state and many states rely on these capital investment grants to fund many of their transit projects that really matter to their communities. Decimating our federal investment in public transit? Not on my watch. Instead, we secured $1.7 billion for SIG, and we took new steps to specify which projects to fund at which amounts. For example, this bill sets aside $100 million for light rail on the I-5 bridge for the Interstate Bridge Replacement Program and $82 million for a bus rapid transit in Spokane. Both projects I have been fighting for a very long time. The guardrails that we secured for SIG are one of several updates we fought for throughout these bills to protect those funds from political interference if Trump and Vote try to rob our communities again. The FSGG bill protects some crucial investments in our communities. We rejected Trump's plan to slash funding for the Small Business Administration by 40%. We rejected Trump's dream of eliminating election security grants, and we rejected his proposal to decimate the Community Development Financial Institution Fund. That is the CDFI fund, and it helps our communities take on all sorts of challenges, like opening child care centers or providing health services or building affordable housing or growing small businesses. Trump had his way, that would have been cut by 60%. But he didn't have his way. We worked to maintain the CDFI fund at the current level and to make sure it is adequately staffed so Trump can't try to sabotage that work with mass firings again. We also took an important step to prevent Washington, D.C. from not being able to spend its own taxpayer dollars again.
All right, essentially they're going to complain, use up the rest of the time. Here's what you need to know. I'm going to do a summary, all right? Y'all ready for this? All right, doing a summary video. And then I'm going to publish this summary video. So you're going to see me do a video live, and then I'm going to publish it, all right? Here we go. All right, so we saw the mini appropriation bill get passed in the Senate. We were able to get over 70 votes with this, and yes, there were some big protests along the way. If you would like to see the whole Senate hearing, I will have the live stream linked in the description down below. But here's the big takeaway from this, all right? We were able to get this to pass, but we saw a lot of divides along party lines. Now, how does this apply to crypto? Well, you saw that recently crypto has been in a downtrend. A big reason for the downtrend is because people are becoming more and more pessimistic that we're not going to get regs done in this session of Congress. You're seeing H-bar under 10 cents at 9.8 cents. XRP at $1.73. BTC at 84,000. ETH at 2707. It's softness. You're also not seeing insane amounts of buying the dip. You're not seeing the retail players jump in or institutional players. Now, this last move that we've seen, this thing that we've been dealing with over the last day and a half, yes, that has caused a little bit of an uptick in volume. 170 billion over the last 24 hours. But it's a lot of sell volume. And we were watching pairs, and the pairs weren't that juicy. Now, where does this leave us with crypto regs? Well, you still have people like Brad Garlinghouse that believe, hey, just get something done. Just pass something. Get a piece of crap on the wall. It's better than nothing on the wall at all. On the other hand of it, you have the Brian Armstrongs and Charles Hodgkinsons out there that say, hey, look, if we don't do this right, the banks are going to use this against us, and they are going to bend us over. All right, so you got this big divide. Now, the divide is about banks and yields. So we got to go over here to the whiteboard, okay? Right now, you've got this group over here. This is the Banking Committee for the Senate. I put bad, all right, because they suck. This is the Banking Committee for the Senate. They have their own set of regs as seen by this squiggly line here, okay? They upvote it, right? They upvote their set of regs to the Senate, blah, blah, blah. What we've seen is that we do not have a deal in regards to this right here, and that is yield. We don't have a deal for that at all. So because of that, you're not getting this upvote with the Senate Banking Committee. Now, the Senate Ag Committee was able to pass their part of the bill. The problem is, though, is even though their part of the bill passed, you have two massive concerns. Number one, you don't have anyone at the CFTC. The CFTC has 5 big people at power that do the votes, okay? You only have 1 out of the 5 there. The Democrats are saying, and rightfully so, hey, look, if you want the CFTC to regulate crypto, how the hell is that going to work if we don't even have people at the CFTC? And I completely agree. Who the hell would regulate it? You don't even have 4 out of the 5 big people there that vote. And in fact, the Democrats don't have anyone represented there. The only person there that's the 1 out of the 5 is a Republican. So you got to be fair, and you got to be, hey, look, we know you guys want to be part of this process, gals and blue-haired giraffes. You don't have a seat at the table, and that's what they're holding it up. The other concern they have is this ethics concern. What about all the people like Trump and his family that are getting into crypto? If they pass this bill, holy crap, what's going to happen to all of us when his family just makes tons of money? So yes, we did see markup pass the Senate Ag Committee, but they said we do not have enough votes because of ethics and CFTC concerns. That now brings us back over to here with the Senate Banking Committee, where we don't have a deal on yield. So right now, not only do we not have a deal on yield, we also don't have a feasible deal with ethics or CFTC. Now, you might be sitting here and saying, you know what? Why do we need the Democrats to make this happen? Well, just like as we learned today with the funding bill, again, it's all linked down below, you need 7 votes from the Democrats to jump across those aisles to make it happen. On this funding vote here, we had 71 yays and 29 nays, right? So we had a fair amount of Democrats come over. For the crypto bill, the Democrats, right? The same Democrats that we saw in the Ag Committee that were talking about this bill, right? The markup. They said, hey, look, you're not getting our votes for crypto regs, so don't even try. And the whole thing with filling the seats at the CFTC, they just recently got the head of the CFTC here. And if you're like, wait a minute, Klaus, we just recently got a CFTC person appointed? Yes, just recently. It's been Caroline Pham for the longest time running the ship as a temporary. You're talking about Trump being in office for over 1 year, and the majority of spots at the CFTC are still, empty. That's a big one. That is a big, big problem. Now, the yield part with the banks, okay? Here's the deal. The banks themselves said that there is about, and I'm going to just throw these numbers out here, there is $22 trillion right now from banks that are sitting in deposit-based accounts, all right? We're going to take this, and we're going to move this over here, okay? There's $22 trillion of that sitting in banks' accounts right now. Think of CDs, high interest yield, stuff like that, right? Okay. Of that, the banks believe that they will lose 6 trillion of that to crypto. So they think 6 trillion will leave banks. Now, this is coming from banks. This isn't coming from like cracked out crypto bros and hoes talking about, oh, we're going to melt faces by Friday. This is coming from the banks themselves that say, we're going to lose 6 trillion of the money that's sitting in our accounts right now. And that 6 trillion is now going to go to where, everyone? That 6 trillion is now going to go to, anyone? Stable coins. Now, stable coins are a gateway drug for crypto. So they know that if they allow the bill to have passive yield on it, you are going to get a whole bunch of money leave the banks, all right? And remember, this is 22 trillion. This is sitting in banks is 22 trillion, all right? So this money is going to leave if that goes through. So the banking people are trying to find ways to keep this blocked. But remember, this is one of 3 things right now that are holding up regs. So let's pretend we do get the banking thing fixed with yield. That takes care of this line right here. Let's say we do get the CFTC concerns fixed. We do get the ethics concerns fixed. We can then take that bill and we can pass it from the Senate to the House. The House does not need that big majority rule. They just need a simple majority. So if there's 200 people there, they just need 101 people saying yes, 99 people saying no. And then it'll pass. It's not like the Senate where you need Democratic support to make it happen. So then that would take what? That would take us then from the Senate to the House, and that would pass. Now, where we stand in accordance to this in time frame, we're hoping to get this done right now, okay? So right now, we're basically in the month of February, right? So we're basically in the month of February. What we're looking at is getting this stuff done right now, or else we're going to be waiting a while. Why? Because you only have until November. November is midterm elections. All right, I'm going to make this real big. We're going to move this over here. Look, right? November is midterm elections. So we have a very, very small window of time here between February and November that we can get this stuff done. If not, we have to see what happens with the elections. Of 53 seats, as of right now, 53 seats are completely vacated in the House and Senate, or will be vacated. These people will not come back, all right? So that's 53 open seats. That's 53 people that these crypto super PACs can vote to get in. But again, we have a very small window. So a lot of people right now, a lot of people watching, myself included, are sitting here going, well, wait a minute. We got a problem because we do not have much time here. And if the midterm election goes more Democratic or goes more Republican, that can be enough to now take all of this and have to redo it. Because if you lose enough support, you can't ramrod stuff through the House. See, you can ramrod stuff through the House of Representatives right now. But if all of a sudden you lose enough Republican seats, that doesn't become an easy one to pass through. All of a sudden you're like, oh crap, now what? So, when you zoom out, we've got some problems. We got some problems with stablecoin and yield because banks fear they're going to lose 6 out of their $22 trillion. Remember, that's coming from the banks. That's not coming from cracked out smack monkeys like Jake Claver. 6 divided by 22. Banks are afraid they're going to lose darn near 30% of their money on hand. So that screws us with this part, right? The yield in banking. We got the Ag Committee. They got theirs up, but we have problems with the ethics in the CFTC. And we also have problems with a February to November timeline, of which time is running out. So, the big issue that we have is that if the government shutdown stuff gets even spicier, because remember, this was just a temporary funding bill. If the government stuff gets even spicier and we get an even bigger divide within the government, we might not be looking at regs at all until after the midterm election in November. The thing is, those people, when they get voted, things don't start happening until when, everyone? Until January. And you would have a new session of Congress here working on this stuff. So, it's basically going, hey, we get this stuff done, Aroni, now, Aroni, or oh crap, Aroni, we are going to be waiting to see what the hell happens for a long time. Now, because of that, you are seeing things like silver, and I'm reading the comments right now, trade like a, quote, meme coin. Why? Because silver went absolutely bonkos nuts and was rocket shipping to the moon in their most recent move. All right? That's silver. Silver has gone nuts. Let's put that up here. Let's bring that up. Let's bring up silver. Silver chart. There you go. Silver has been nuts. Look at this. That is a crazy volatile chart for silver. So is silver acting the way it is? We still have a lot of uncertainty. Now, silver going down in price is good for all of us because that means the world itself isn't as wonky, isn't as nutso, isn't as bonkers. It's bad for silver holdings, but for you and me as people, this is telling us that, you know what? We believe things are going to chill out just a little bit. The other thing you got to throw into the mix is David Schwartz opening up his mouth talking about how XRP isn't going to hit $10, isn't going to hit $100, that there's very, very, very low odds of that. So even the guy behind XRP is like, yeah, I don't really think XRP is going to roar that much. That sure as shit doesn't help things out. You got things like SWI, which are eroding their price action all the way back to September of 2024. HBAR, single digits, going back to where we were in November of 2024. You got things like PayPay going back even further. We're talking February of 24. Your store of value cryptos like ETH and BTC are both getting pounded right now. XLM under 20 cents. What are you going to do with that? Under 20 cents. People are getting roasted here. A lot of cryptos are down big time since Trump took office. Why? Because there was a huge hype. There was a huge promise that we're going to get regs. We were going to get regs by July. We were going to get an ADA, SOL, XRP, Strategic Reserve, and we haven't gotten any of them. And so the market is reacting negatively, saying, oh, you want to hype us up and promise all this shit and not deliver? The only thing we actually got was stablecoin regs? Well, guess what we're going to do back to you? We're going to sell off. Now, recently, you've seen Trump and Treasury Secretary Bessent jump in and say stuff like, oh, don't worry. We're going to work on our strategic reserve, but you have a lot of debt, so you're not going to buy any more crypto. That's a big, big problem. You got players out there, oh, don't worry. Once crypto regs get to my desk, I'm going to sign it right away. Awesome. But the problem is we know we don't have the support to even get it to your desk, as seen by this amazing drawing illustration right here from this guy. So where are we at right now? Well, we get to find out here over the next few weeks what kind of support and what kind of votes we actually have. You're going to get more of a debate from these people here over the next couple weeks, which is going to suck. You got a replacement for, what's his name, for Jerome Powell on the Fed. Remember, this guy won't come in until after May. So even if he is dovish, it's going to be dovish for the back end of the year. And let's see. And you got Brad Garlinghouse, who also, what, everyone? Says, let's just get this done. But that's because even if we just get this done, yes, it would be good for crypto, but not great for crypto. We know how much better it would be for crypto if we got yield thrown in. So what happens now? We wait to see if we get more support over the next several weeks. We see if the government can get through this 2-week temporary funding bill that was passed. Because mind you, this is a 2-week funding bill that was passed. All right, 2 weeks. That's it. When these people, that's all we got. So hopefully they get this done quick. Because think, in 2 weeks, that puts us at the middle part of February. This clock right here starts ticking. And it ticks fast. Yeah, old Picasso Klaus, you like it? I know I like it. Saylor is probably crapping himself because his average, as we learned earlier today, is right around 76,000. So that doesn't give him much room. That gives him 8,000 of profits as a cushion. Are we crying or buying? Well, I'm being honest with you. I'm probably going to buy a little this weekend. I did a little bit earlier. I did a little bit this week. I didn't for a couple weeks. I probably will this weekend, and I probably will a little bit more next week. Probably nothing like crazy, like bonkers hit, unless something nutso happens. For me, it's worth the risk. For me, it's worth the risk to buy at low prices and hope that we get a pumperoni with regs. If not, then you know what? Sucks to be me, and I'm ready to do that. Why? Because I have other things hedging it, which are taking the pressure away. Let's see. CNBC 3 weeks ago. There's big money behind the XRP trade. Thanks for wrecking us. CNBC at $2.40. Yeah, I know. I've been telling everyone out there, don't listen to these hype machines. They are not following this crap at all. We're also going to see what happens over the weekend with quotes from the Senate and the House, right? The House people, the quotes from them are going to be interesting. You're going to see if they're going to try to do a little stall, a little filibuster action. Might get to stream that one. I'll see if I got the oomph for it. But right now, overall volume softness in the market. No one's really buying the dip as big as they were. Retail's pretty crushed. Institutions are sitting here going, oh crap, we don't know if we're going to get regs or not to protect us. And remember, crypto can get crapped on again if the next president that comes in is anti-crypto and undoes all these executive orders. So we got to be real cautious here. And that is your markup. And that is your summary on how we stand, considering all we have is the ag markup. How's that for a summary video? So yeah, I'm going to see what happens on Monday. I'm going to watch what happens over the weekend. Like I said, I'm going to be buying just a little bit here and there. Nothing too crazy. I am going to take advantage of certain things that I see are worth it. For me, it's worth the risk. I really believe for me it's worth the risk. Like I said, I hedge very heavily, so I'm not really too freaked out. I'm not using any leverage or anything like that. I'm just going to go see where this market takes us and understand that there's a big chance that the things I'm buying could go down a fair amount. But there's a good chance if we get the regaronis that we're going to be even better, you jabronis. On the 2nd of February as well, here's a little addendum to everything. On the 2nd of February, all right, there is a White House meeting between the banks and the Senate people, the other side, the crypto people, okay? That's on the 2nd of February. The White House is going to try to get in between the banking people and the crypto people to see if they can come up with a deal. Hopefully that meeting still stays on. If it stays on, awesome. If it gets canceled, that means we're so far away in support that the White House doesn't even want to waste their time. And that's where we stand. As some of you are saying, zero or hero, or how fast the crypto market can go from hero to zero. If you got any questions or comments, now is the time. Otherwise, we're going to be shutting down the stream for a little bit and hanging out over the weekend. I will do some summary videos, no big deal, got you covered on that. In terms of volume for the weekend, I expect it to calm down heavily compared to today's action. I'm very curious to see what Monday's open looks like in the stock markets. So right now, get your last second questions and comments in. Otherwise, we will be ending the stream at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Stream ends 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. There you go. And for some of you out there that are like OG, like crypto people, you're welcoming this because some of these prices are that low. And when the prices are that low, you've been waiting for a long time. I was patiently waiting. I didn't buy any crypto for months and months and months because of how crazy prices were pumping. And I was like, yeah, but we don't know if we have regs yet. So I held off my buying for a really long time. I got denied the Circle IPO. I used that money to go into other things. There's always opportunities out there. Bama Boy says, have a great weekend, Sir Klaus. Thank you very much. Trick is hanging out with us. We're not really shut down. We've got a temporary spending thing. The House should be able to tackle it on Monday. So it's not really a shutdown. The majority of the government's funded. This is just a big thing with DHS that they're going to drag out here for quite some time. So everyone, enjoy your weekend. Have some fun with the tasty rips. Have some fun with the juicy dips. Oh, good question is, Guy Carl says, what is the crypto yield versus bank yield? Bank yields are very low. A lot of savings accounts are piss poor. A lot of high yield accounts are only yielding you 3% at max. Crypto yield, I've seen like 7-8% on reputable products. But the majority of banking products offer yield under 1% or right around 1%. So crypto yields can be 4, 5, 6 times as high. The chat says, Klaus, is the XRP dream over? No, it's not over at all. It's just right now we just have to deal with the fact that we're taking a big bite out of a poop sandwich, of which I shared with you on the screen right here, and we need to fix this stuff. So if people are telling you melting faces, you show them this fixture and you say, yo, you must be a big retard. All right, I'm going to put some music on, hang out with chat a little bit. You know how that goes, right? Here you go, baby.
But my appetite, don't leave me here.